there, fellow marketers. Professor Wolters here, and today we're here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and today we're going to talk about is how you can create posts that actually get clicks, okay? Now, there's no guaranteed silver bullet of what's going to make somebody click on your videos or click on your posts or get them to follow you on Facebook or Twitter, but there are some things you can do to help the chance that people will go, oh, that looks like something I want to look at. Oh, that's an article I want to read. Oh, that's a post I want to know more about. And so we're going to kind of go through a few tips to kind of help you make better posts that are more likely to inspire some clicks out there, okay? And the first thing you really have to think about is really look and see is, are you speaking to the target audience? And are you speaking to them directly? Because here's the thing, if I'm talking to male 25 to 45, how are you today? Do you feel like they're talking to you? Or female 27 to 36? No, that doesn't really fit. You want to make sure people really feel like you're actually talking to them, because if you're not talking to them, they're not going to listen. I mean, when you walk down the street, when random people yelled, you go, oh, I wonder what that conversation is. No, you're like, oh, if they're talking directly to me, hey, Mark, hey, Professor Wolters. Yes, I see you're talking to me. It's more likely they're going to turn and pay attention to that post, pay attention to that person, pay attention to that video. So you really need to understand how your specific client really likes to be spoken to, and what are the things that resonate with them. That's why it's important that you do marketing research before you're making these posts to see who are the people that are looking at our videos, who are the people that can get the most impact and most boost from our blog posts. And that's why it's important you really remember to communicate how your audience communicates, okay? So if you're looking for a younger audience, what are they using? Well, they're using Instagram, they're using Snap and things like this. So you need to make sure you're communicating to them in that media. You need to be in Instagram. If you're speaking to an older demographic, right, 35, 45 plus, then you're looking at Facebook, right? You want to make sure you're speaking to them there, because that's how your audience likes to communicate. So make sure you're speaking directly to them with topics that mean something to them, but also in the platform that they use. Now, another thing you have to think about when you're making a good post that will get people to click is make sure you have some kind of hook. There's got to be something in there that makes them go, yes, this is for me. It's called the with them. What's in it for me? Think about it. If I'm doing a travel video, right, it's going to be, oh, what you should see and do in Cheyenne. I'm going to Cheyenne. I'm a tourist. This could be something helpful for me. For your posts, what are you doing to show that there's something in it for them? Is it to teach them how to use your product? Is it to educate them about the benefits of your product, how your product can solve their problems? Like, what is this? I mean, it could be just, hey, here's something funny for you, but you have to give them some kind of reason to click, some kind of reason to actually go there and kind of take in this content you're making. And the thing is, you can't do the same thing all the time. And my next kind of tip for you is don't get stale. Don't do the same thing over and over and over again. Because think about it, no matter how much you love your favorite cartoon as a kid, you eventually stopped watching it. Why? Well, a lot of times you grew out of it. Well, because the stories were kind of the same. I mean, think about it. How many police procedural dramas do you need to watch to know that, okay, there's the bad guy and this is what's going to happen and they're going to solve it at the end? I get it. After like 4 or 5 seasons, you're like, okay, I'm good. Hence why a lot of shows, you get to season 6, okay, maybe it's time to put it to bed, right? And so we have to think about this. We have to create new stuff. If you're doing just Facebook posts, maybe you start adding in video, maybe you add in polls, maybe you add in contests. You use different content, different kinds of materials to inspire people to come back so it doesn't get boring. That's one of the things I look at when I'm making these business videos is, look, if I just stand in front of the blackboard or in front of the whiteboard or whatever I'm using and I'm just in a classroom setting, yes, and today, students, we are going to learn this. After a while, that gets pretty boring. Wouldn't you rather see something new, like here's the old train station, oh, you probably can't see it here, but here's downtown Cheyenne. It's something different. It's something that can inspire them so it doesn't get boring, right? And so really think about that. Now, another thing you can do to really help your stuff get clicks is sometimes you have to realize there's other things than just the title. I mean, yes, the title has to inspire. Does it reach out to them? The thumbnail on a video has to inspire people to click. Does it make sense? Does it relate? Does it inspire me to click? And that headline, is it something that makes you go, oh yes. Now, I'm not saying make clickbait. Make sure it links up to the content, because if it doesn't, then people aren't going to come back. And the algorithms are going to see that you posted about this, but when people went to it, they bounced off right away. and they didn't like it. So Google's gonna say, oh, that's not a good answer to that question, and they won't send people to your website, okay? So what I'm talking about is when you're using, pictures in your posts, make sure you're using alt text. Basically, you have a description of the picture. So when you put the picture on your website, make sure you're right in. Like I'll put in downtown Cheyenne, Wyoming, right? Or then a little just like that's in the background, right? And then I have underneath maybe a little description underneath it saying, oh, a beautiful picture of downtown Cheyenne that tourists will see when they come here. By doing that, it gives more description. It gives more ways that people can actually find your post, because it's not just the title that they're seeing now. Now it could be through an image search or something. This can get people to kind of click on your stuff because they're inspired by your pictures you're using. Or it could be they're inspired by the infographics you use. Making infographics for those new kinds of materials you make instead of just a post, infographics. I mean, think about it. How many of you, when you're scrolling through Instagram, you're scrolling through Facebook, you stop when there's a cool looking graph that talks about, oh, the number of people that are getting by grizzly bears versus polar bears versus panda bears in the world. You're like, oh, I want to read about that because it's got a nice picture of a panda and a grizzly and things like that. You can see that and it inspires people to click. So use these things, okay? Now, these are just some basic things you can do to try to inspire some more clicks, but I think the really important one is really knowing and understanding your audience and what's really important to them and making content that really resonates with them. That's what's going to get them to click instead of just scrolling by. So thank you for not scrolling by on this one. I do hope this helps you make a bit more better content that can inspire your customers or potential customers to click. And I wish you all the best, and I'll say bye from here in Cheyenne, Wyoming.